No Damage Productions, huh?
What's good with it, Planet Earth? My name is Christopher T. Williams, aka The Saint.
And I am Kevin Kendrick, also known as Double K or K Double, depending on which show you're listening to.
And we welcome you to this little mini broadcast of Four Aces Presents. We're coming at you directly from the Trollgazer Gaming Studios here in Sacramento, California. And today we're just going to get into a little bit about what we're coming up, what we have coming up, and we're just going to bring the ruckus from there. So we'll go ahead and start it off with...
Let's start off with a little history.
Okay.
A little history. Where we been?
Four Aces Presents was founded in 2010 by myself, LaShawn Shelton, Chad Boogie, Bruce Bowers, John Parrott, and Shonda Sealy. And what we decided to do was to come together as a network of different radio shows promoting each other across the country. This started when we were doing Blog Talk Radio, and we have just built up a network of different shows, different types of mediums, all different types of stuff. And one of the things that we're trying to do is go forward. So we have left Blog Talk Radio and we have gone over to Spreaker.com. And over there, that allows us to do more shows, give you better entertainment, a new fan base, just lots of different little things.
Yeah, for sure. You know, we've got a long list of shows that are going to be coming out on Spreaker, and I'd say by the end of March, we'll probably have a roster of about 14 shows for you to listen to Monday through Friday, anywhere from first thing in the morning to midnight at night, late at night. So we're going to start you off with just telling you about the initial 6 shows that are going to be there at launch, and we'll give you a fill in a little bit later on about some of the shows that will be coming up in the future. The first show that's going to be coming up is...
The first show is the flagship show that started off the Four Aces Presents, the mother of all the shows, Four Aces Presents, and that is Now vs. Then. Now vs. Then was originally hosted by me from 2009 to 2014, and then taken over by Robin B. Baxter over in 2014 up until last year sometime. And now the show is going to be taken into the reins by Miss Shelley Bell. She's going to bring a different flavor where we still promote Generation X meets Generation Next. She's going to bring her own wisdom to it. She's going to bring her own style, still with some of the same segments that we had before, such as the conscious moment and of course the now versus then moment, but it will be done on a level that is going to be different. And I can't wait to see what she does with it. So that show will be starting on January 18th, 2016 at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on Four Aces Presents on Spreaker.com. And that show will be on every Monday.
And I'm actually far away, man.
Yeah.
You know, 18th coming up on us quick. All right, guys. The next show is another one. It's not necessarily a flagship show. It came kind of after the initial merge when we became Four Aces Presents in about 2011, and it's the Raw Impact Unleashed. Myself, K Double, and your boy Cole have been talking wrestling for about the past 3 years or so. We've done interviews with people like Chris Masters. We've done interviews with half the BTW roster, with the owner Kirk White, John LaRocca, owner of Premier Wrestling. All of these gentlemen have done guest spots on our show throughout the years. So we have many, many more bigger names coming up in the next few years as we make the switch over to Spreaker. And also with the switch over to Spreaker, we're bringing back an old segment called Shout Out to the Indies, because as everybody knows who listen to the Raw Impact Unleashed, we're all about that independent wrestling. But we're going to bring it back as a 20-minute segment at the end of the show, where we'll probably be doing some giveaways for some tickets, as well as just talking about the independent scene and what's going on there. So that's the Raw Impact Unleashed. That show will be doing its debut episode on Spreaker on Thursday the 22nd of January 2016. That'll be going on pretty much every Thursday after that, with the exception for some special editions here and there where we'll follow up the most recent big pay-per-view, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, WrestleMania, etc.
Okay. And then the next show is the show that I host primarily, and that is Now versus Then West, or primarily what we call NVT West. This show is another version of Now versus Then, but it is for the West Coast. And it's everything in West Coast, from the music to the culture to whatever is happening in the state of California, maybe somewhere in Nevada, somewhere in Oregon, Washington, all the way up to Vancouver, British Columbia. The thing about this is that it's all about the music primarily, and we're going to be having our focus primarily on Northern California, primarily the Bay Area and Sacramento. There's a lot of primarilies in there too. And the music will be featuring artists like Donari, which is a local band out of the Bay Area. We have artists like the Conscious Daughters, the Loonies, Richie Rich. All this music, the Brothers Under Madness, some more independent artists like Cuddy, and we also have all different types of music that we're going to be featuring, and a lot of it is independent, and more or less it's for the Northern California area right now. That's not to say we're not going to expand it, but we got to let folks know that we're a powerhouse here up in the Bay and in Sacramento. So that show will be on starting January 21st at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, and we're just going to bring that West Coast music with that West Coast sound. Can you dig that?
Oh yeah. And if you've listened to us in the past, you've heard me say this before, but if you think that we're just a group of radio shows, you're sadly mistaken. We're all over the web. As you can see going across here, right at the top, you're going to have a list of all kinds of Twitter addresses, Facebook addresses for our fan pages. You got Twitter handles. You can reach Raw Impact Unleashed at Radio Wrestling. You can reach myself at WCB Podcast KK1. You can reach your boy Cole at Jordan Cole Jones. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We have blogs, the Raw Impact Unleashed and Double K Classroom / West Coast Bias. Both have active blogs that have been active for about the past, I want to say, 3 to 5 years. You can find those web addresses right up here too. And go and check us out right now if you want. Pull us up in your next screen. Check out what we have to offer, because there's a lot that's going to be going on. That's going to consist of kind of continuity between the fan pages, the Twitter, and the blog. So guys, you got to keep kind of track of all three. But that's our social media kind of impact. So find us there, like us, share us, follow us, keep track of what's going on for us Presents, because there's a lot of big things coming up in 2016. West Coast Bias. It's one of our other shows that can be considered a flagship show. It was brought on in about 2011. We did a 75 episode run. Myself, Mr. Suave, and the Duel, our resident basketball coach, did a 75 episode run with National Press Comics that resulted in some pretty good numbers and then a pretty good following that we brought with us over here to Blog Talk Radio. We've now changed up the lineup, so not only will you be hearing Mr. Suave, myself, and the Duel, you'll also be hearing the female sensation, Miss O'Malley, as she just brings it hard with her knowledge of MMA, with her knowledge of basketball, and her love for the A's, Warriors, and the Raiders, which and those who know me know I'm not a Raiders fan, but it makes for some great listening and some great radio. So guys, be sure to listen in for West Coast Bias. That's going to be Sundays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. Your favorite afternoons Sunday radio show. So.
Okay. And then we have Revolving Door Fridays. And Revolving Door Fridays are primarily our blog shows. Those are shorter versions of, they're kind of like side shows and companion episodes to Now versus Then West, and also the West Coast Bias and the Raw Impact Unleashed. So why don't you tell them a little bit about Double K's Classroom?
Well, Double K's Classroom is just a bi-weekly show where I talked about what's on my mind, and I also bring you a little bit of music. I'm a music guy as well as a sports guy, so I like to be able to let you see an insight into what goes on in my playlist. And you'll hear anything from Linkin Park to West Side Connection, to Snoop Dogg, to Eminem, and also we've been venturing out into some newer, more unknown bands. Recently did an interview with the lead singer of the band You People, Vincent Adorno. Great interview. Going to be bringing him back for a second interview. He debuted one of his songs. Have another couple of a young aspiring rapper named Christian who's going to be coming on to play a couple of his tracks, as well as do a quick interview for his video and audio. So be on the lookout for that from Double K's Classroom. And we also have Planet of Cole, which is my co-host on Raw Impact Unleashed, your boy Cole's show. It's formerly known as The World's Blur. So if you used to listen to The World's Blur, be sure to listen in to Planet of Cole, because it's pretty much the same show, just Cole taking it to another level. These shows are going to take place Friday nights at 8 p.m., but we are expanding Revolving Door Fridays with the addition of MVT Deuce. It will now be a 2-hour block that will run from 8 to 10 as opposed to just from 8 to 9, and will include either your weekly dose of either Planet of Cole and Double K's Classroom and NVT Deuce, or we may surprise you every now and then, give you some previews of some new shows we have coming up.
Yeah, NVT Deuce primarily is the companion for Now Versus Then. It's purely music, and that's music that is coming from everywhere across the globe. So NVT Deuce is all just about the music. So that pretty much wraps up Revolving Door Fridays.
Sure. That's pretty much our mainstay, our primary lineup. In the coming weeks and months after that, we're going to have all kinds of different projects coming up, including a joint project with Trollgazer Gaming for the YouTube web series, as well as an hourly show. So be sure to be on the lookout and listen in for that.
Okay, and then we have a couple of new shows coming into the mix. We have our first show, which talks about sex. Nobody likes to talk about it. It's a dirty secret, but you have to talk about it because it's out there. It exists. And this brand new show is called Dirty Talk 101, and this is with Essie, and she is just going to be bringing the thunder. This show will be broadcast out of Las Vegas. We're looking forward to seeing what she can bring to the table. And then we also have, coming out of Tennessee, is the Wildflower Project, which is pretty much the Wildflower. She was a staple on BTR back in the day, and she's just bringing the old school lessons of old school music, some good stuff, fundamental stuff, and she's our music historian, and we just love her to death. And then, of course, we have the return of Mrs. PG and the Sidebar. For 2 years, Mrs. PG brought us some of our greatest numbers on the Blog Talk Radio Network, and she brings her no-nonsense attitude with everything, folks. And I promise you that Mrs. PG is back better than ever, doing what she does, representing for the Milwaukee area. So I really can't wait for that. I'm just looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, also we have the return of Hip Talk Radio. This is the show that comes out of Cincinnati, Ohio, some parts out of it with Chicago. We have John and his crew just bringing the ruckus every single week. This is a show about hip hop that gave inspiration to Now Versus Then. And I promise you that if you tune in to that particular show, you're really gonna love it. You're really gonna love that. And then, of course, there's the companion show to the Sidebar, WTF. We already know what that stands for. In our case, it's Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with Petey Green, and he is going to bring whatever he feels is on his mind, kind of like a Planet Cold type of thing, but it's coming from Milwaukee. And we express that this show is not for the kids. Okay, this
Definitely
show's not for the
safe
kids.
for work.
No.
We're also, guys, we talked about it, and as you're probably watching us on YouTube, we have the 4 Aces Presents YouTube channel, as well as we're going to be doing giveaways on sometimes monthly, sometimes weekly web series. Raw Impact Unleashed has a couple of different things lined up with some interviews with some big time wrestlers, as well as an Ask a Fan segment that we're going to have coming up soon. West Coast Bias will be bringing you some web series interviews with fans from the Oakland A's Fan Fest as well as the Giants Fan Fest. So keep tuning in here to YouTube and see some of the great things that our hosts are going to bring you from a video aspect. You're so used to hearing us on the radio, you'll get to see us and see what we look like and basically put names to faces, etc. But we'll be also doing giveaways through Raw Impact Unleashed for independent wrestling shows from BTW, Supreme Pro Wrestling, All Pro Wrestling, if we can get a hold of them, tickets for Knox Pro, etc. So you got to listen in to the radio show and pay attention to the YouTube series in order to be able to win these things, including things like, I don't know, 3-month subscriptions to the WWE Network. Might give away a few of those. We'll see. Yeah. That'll be later on this year. But the YouTube and the radio shows, we're going to be doing giveaways. So be sure to keep listening in for your chance to win something great.
Yeah. And with the web series actually going to be a companion to all the radio shows. We have different types of segments. One of the co-hosts for NVT West, Miss Nicole Slay, is going to be bringing you a segment that is totally brand new and has never been done, even for a web show. And I tell you, I can't wait for that to jump off. And that's going to be totally awesome. We have a lot of other things that we're going to be doing. So, you know, it's working. It's working. But then too, let me go ahead and talk about the next radio show, which is Bofo Radio. And this is being hosted by Miss Boo Boo Rodriguez. She's out there in the lanes with the clothing line. She appears at various events. If you follow us on Facebook with the 4 Aces Presents fan page, you'll see a few things lined up on there. And Bofo Radio is coming very soon. In addition to iRock Radio, which I'm really looking forward to seeing with one of our co-producers for NVT West, Eve Reed, who does reality radio on Spreaker already. So she's going to be bringing independent artists from everywhere, and I'm looking forward to really seeing what she's going to bring to the table with 4 Aces.
You know, I'm kind of excited about all these shows we have coming up. You know, guys, for those of you who've seen basically what we have to offer before, you might have seen us on the 4 Aces Presents radio.com website that we launched, what was it, earlier this year?
Yeah, July.
In July this year.
2015.
We're going to be relaunching it with the move over to Spreaker and all the new shows coming up. We're going to be relaunching it complete, hopefully with an archive section, which will be up sometime this year, as well as a link to the YouTube series, and also just little bios about all of the hosts that run on 4 Aces Presents, as well as all of the shows that run on 4 Aces Presents, and links to past episodes. So look out for the relaunch of 4Aces Presents radio.com. It should be coming, like I said, within the next couple of months, and we've got big things planned. So it's 2016 is looking like the year of the Ace, and 4 Aces is right in the center of that, right?
Yeah. And last but not least, the final show that we want to talk about for the first time ever, 4 Aces Presents is finally reaching out of the United States with a show called Raporia Presents. And this is done by Raporia Recordings. This is coming out of Scotland by DJ Sean. He's going to be bringing a different flavor to us. And we will be sending some of our music over there to be played, and he will be sending some of his music over here to be played, to keep it all international, to keep it fresh, to let you know that there are many skilled artists who are just as hungry over there as they are over here. And that is going to be starting sometime in February, folks. So we want folks to check that out and see what you think of the international flavor.
And remember, guys, you can find us at any of these Twitter sites, Facebook fan pages, and find all the information that you need about the upcoming move over to Spreaker.com for 4 Aces Presents. I think we can go on ahead and wrap it up on that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, guys, so y'all take care. Be on the lookout for the next web series video, and we'll see y'all then.
Peace.
Do Damage Productions, huh? Do Damage Productions, huh?